We got the first read on economic growth for the fourth quarter of last year, up 2.6% annual growth. And for the whole year, we grew 2.9%. Pretty strong, I'd say. Let's bring in Kevin Hassett. He's the chair of the White House Council of Economic Advisors. So welcome back to the program. Always good to see you.
Great to be here, Stuart. Of course. Yeah, thanks.
Look, I characterized last year as strong. 2.9% growth, that's good stuff. But what about when you move forward to the first quarter of this year? They're estimating it's only going to be 1.8, 1.9%. That's not great.
Right. Well, first of all, it actually wasn't 2.9 last year. It was 3.1, but we don't have to get down into the weeds. But it was a 3.1% year. And it's almost interesting about the news coverage because there are two different ways to measure the year. And one is year over year, and one is quarter four over quarter four. And everybody's picking the lower number because they don't want to give the president credit for 3.1. But you get the numbers right. And so from now on, talk about it as 3.1 because that's the right number.
I promise.
Yeah.
Right,
okay, so going into Q1, there is this thing that basically the seasonal adjustment process has been messed up for about a decade, and every Q1 is about 1% below what you expect to have for the year. We still are very, very confident that we're going to have a 3% year for 2019. And so what that means is you should expect Q1 to be about 2. And so, you know, if you're thinking, okay, are we going to maintain the 3% growth we had last year this year, you know, what is the GDP now type stuff telling us about that? Then you should be looking for that to be around 2, which is about where it is. That's just what you said. So that's consistent.
If you're looking for another 3% year, 2019, 3% growth for the full year, we've got to pick up a lot of steam in the spring and summer.
Right.
Where would that steam come from?
Well, it's just like we did last year, and the reason is that we've still got the tax cuts. We're still deregulating like crazy. We've got lots of positive momentum on the trade deals, as you've seen. And so a lot of the uncertainty about trade, for example, last year, it's going to be resolved this year.
Okay, let me
and so we got a 3% growth last year, even with that uncertainty. So imagine how good it'll be once it's resolved.
Okay, Kevin, let me pick up on that. You just said lots of, did you use the word progress?
Yeah, for sure.
In the trade talks? Define that. Tell me what progress you've got here.
Right. Well, I think that Larry Kudlow has spoken a lot about that today, too. But the fact is that I think if they're going to make a Mount Rushmore of trade representatives, the biggest head there would be Bob Lighthizer, because it's amazing how he and the Chinese in the negotiations and also Secretary Mnuchin have threaded the needle and come up with, sketches of an agreement on intellectual property theft and enforcement. Ambassador Lighthizer mentioned the enforcement yesterday. That basically makes it so that you can see ahead now to a deal that really makes sense for both parties. And of course, I don't want to get ahead of the final part of the negotiation, which is likely to happen at Mar-a-Lago with the president and President Xi. But if you look at the paperwork that we've got, the line-by-line items that people have agreed to and sketched out, that it's just about as favorable as you could hope for.
And the president did say he would walk away from a deal, even a China trade deal, if it's not a good deal. So that's a very firm, strong stand. But I've not seen the market take it that way at the moment. We're still down.
I'm not sure I agree with that, Stuart, because if you look at what the market's done over the last couple of months, it's really, really headed north. And I think a lot of that has to do both with the continued momentum of the economy, the faith in our economic policies, but also the positive news about both the USMCA and the China deal.
Okay, we'll leave it there, but you're on videotape saying that 2019 we will grow another 3%.
Hey, play the tape from me last year, okay, and then compare it to what happened.
Okay, fair point.
Yeah.
Sir, fair point. Mr. Hassett, you're all right. We'll see you again soon. Thank you.
Thanks, Stuart.
Sure.